I opened my mouth, and then closed it again. Whatever answer I wanted to give, I just can't say it to him. I don't know whether I want to hear his reply anyways. A sour, mirthless smirk twists on his mouth. For you, he asks. Would I give this life up for you? Is that what you're asking? My face burns with humiliation, because I know it's coming now. A lecture on how I mean nothing to him. How I could do nothing more than a piece of shit to him, because I'm a muggle, in case I hadn't forgotten. And sure enough, you expect me to give up on my duty, on my beliefs, for nothing more than a mudblood? He asked quietly, the two last words hitting me like whiplash. Haven't you given up on them already? I whisper. I have given up nothing. I have given up on nothing, he mutters vehemently. If I had, I would have renounced my beliefs, If I had, I would have renounced every belief I have. But they still hold true for me. You, he says, taking a deep breath. You are a weakness. I will admit it. I never thought I would. He narrows his eyes at me. Does it please you? You have taken everything that gave my life meaning away from me. I'm stung into a reply. How dare he? How dare he? You took everything from me too, I whispered tearfully. You've left me with nothing. I can't even keep on the run anymore. Not now that I've betrayed him in one of the worst ways possible. He smirks without any joy whatsoever, shaking his head. So we've ruined each other's existence then. He smirks. He smirks. He mutters, his voice laced with resentment. Both of us have left each other so alone, without anything else. But it doesn't have to be this way, I whisper passionately. He just looks at me, an eyebrow raised. I reach up, brushing my hand onto his cheek and bringing my face closer to his. He closes his eyes for a moment before he opens them to look at me again. You can leave this world behind, I whisper. You could. He breathes a small laugh before brushing my hand away. You don't know what you ask, he murmurs. His eyes dark in a different way altogether now. Would you be willing to become a Death Eater for me? My own automatic reply dries up in my throat, and all I can do is sit there, my mind working furiously. Would I do it for him? Would I commit myself to this life of pain and misery and death for him? No. I couldn't. I just couldn't. Not even to save him. Not even if your refusal would amount to a death sentence. But it would never come to that. I'm not asking him. What I'm asking him is perfectly possible. But they'd never accept a mudblood as a Death Eater anyway, so... No. I just couldn't do it. He curls a tiny smile. She doesn't say that, by the way, but the same before. No, I just couldn't do it. You see, there are worse things in this world than death, he whispers. I know this. That is precisely why I entered this life in the first place. I'm not afraid to die. To give up on my beliefs, my ideals, the one thing that gives my life meaning. I will not do so. Not for the world. My heart crushes in on itself. If not for the world, they certainly wouldn't give it up for me. But he said already, he must have abandoned them to some extent when he first gave in to how he felt for me. So he's gone beyond death for me then. If he's saying anything like me, if he's anything like me, he'd do anything when I'm in his arms. Because God God knows I'd do anything in the world, as he holds me tight to him. And I have done so many things for him. There's a whole world I knew about I knew nothing about until he taught me. So tell me, he says, his voice so quiet. Do you want me to tell you what I did this evening? I bite my lip, and I look down at my hands again. I don't. I don't want to know. I don't. Ignorance is bliss. And the old Hermione would never agree with that statement. I'm not that girl anymore, so what does it matter? I don't want to make this situation any more difficult than it has to be. He breathes a laugh, and he lifts my face up to by the chin to look at his merciless eyes. I didn't think so. His lips brush into mine, lightly at first, before he coaxes my lips open and his own, and his kiss deepens, hardens. His hands roam over my body, starting at my thigh and running up my hips and to my waist, and Jesus. Jesus. and Jesus. Up to my waist and Jesus. He touches Jesus too. More symbolism. Sorry. Who knows what those hands have done this evening? Tortured, mutilated, maybe even killed. When you kill, what part of yourself do you give away? Harry told me that Dumbledore said that it rips your soul in two. But does he have a soul to destroy? His fingers cut my breast, and his thumb and finger come together to catch my nipple, tugging out it hard, sending electric shocks down to the very pit of my stomach and further still, as he stifles my gasp with his mouth, as he bites down on my lower lip, sucking at it gently. This is so awkward. How long this can... She goes from, sex to, thinking about things that have nothing to do with anything. She's like, I wonder what I'll wear tomorrow. You're doing something. Focus or don't focus. I don't know. How long can this really go on for? Even if I were ever to escape, even if he were to give up his life and come with me, could this really continue? Could I ever be with him in the light of the real world, as opposed to the darkness of this world we live in? After all, darkness is wonderfully adept in hiding sins. He pushed me back so that I fall into the mattress, and it looms over me, his hands pressing at my hips as he kissed me hard, urgently, and I kiss him back, clutching at his neck with utter desperation, wanting to draw him ever closer so that he can become a part of me. Why does this bother me so much? That he comes to me after he's tortured and killed. I know firsthand what he can do, don't I? Doesn't make it any better. He's as good. He as good as has blood on his hands. What? I don't know what that means. What, does it make it any better? He has good as has blood on his hands. Whatever. He's as good as the blood on his hands, I guess is what she's saying. He is as good. It's just a lot of words missing and a lot of words in there that aren't supposed to be there, and that's the only thing I can make sense of. He breaks the kiss eventually and moves down my body, trailing kisses down my torso slowly, painfully slowly, and I know what he's going to do. He's done it so many times before. I don't know why he does this. I mean, I don't know why would he want to a mudblood. Excuse me. But he trails his lips. Ooh, this is getting a little bit hardcore. Okay, he trails his lips between my legs. I don't know why I care anymore, because nothing matters. Okay, I'm gonna read this really fast, because this is really awkward. Okay. I can do this. Okay. Because nothing matters as he licks and sucks and bites, and it's the strangest feeling in the world. It's almost enough to make me believe in God again. My breathing quickens as he spreads my legs farther wider, unconsciously, as almost unbearable tension builds in the pit of my stomach. But he moves back up my body, looming over me once again, as breathless as I am, looking down into my face. There's color in his cheeks, a pink tinge to that alabaster skin, another sign of weakness coming from him. He pushes my legs farther apart, so far apart it hurts, and I gasp as he pushes into me, letting his breath come out in a sharp rush. I cling to him as he moves inside me. It's getting awkward. This is so, like, graphic. More graphic than any of the other ones. I cling to him so hard that I must be bruising his perfect skin. He rolls over so that I'm on top of him, astride him. I lie down with my breast resting on his chest so that I can kiss him. And he's moving slowly inside me, but I can catch his movements so much better than I used to be able to. I'm accustomed to it now. I can roll my hips against his in perfect rhythm. He's taught me so many things. He breaks the kiss and looks up at me. His eyes clouded over, and his cheeks full of color as he watches me. And I'm breathless because he's hitting somewhere deep inside me. It gives me a feeling you get when you're on top of a roller coaster before you come crashing down at 100 miles an hour, and I roll my hips like this. It helps him do it. There we go. Sorry. He groans, throwing his head back, and I kiss his exposed neck, wanting to taste him as I feel the need build up more and more, making me want to faint, to scream, to cry. I moan along with him as he pulls my hips down to his with such force as my bones are breaking. I know it, but as he does, fireworks go off in the pit of my stomach and electricity rocks through me, and at this moment I'm enchanted. He groans, holding my hips down to his, and I catch his lips in a kiss, one light, weak kiss. And then we are quiet, lying together, holding each other close, still breathless, until I eventually roll off of him without saying a word. We lie still, side by side, without our bodies touching. All I can do is stare up at the beautiful emerald canopy that covers the bed. After a few moments, he pulls the sheet up from the top of my bed, draping it over the pair of us. The material is so beautifully luxurious compared to what I'm used to. It falls softly up to my waist. I turn my head slightly into the soft pillow. Perhaps I'll just rest my eyes, just for a second. I'm so tired and cocooned in warmth, and I won't fall asleep. Perhaps I'll just rest for a little while. Darkness falls away from me. My eyes flicker open. I absentmindedly turn my head, looking out into the room. The fire at the gate has lied down. Not only emerald... Oh, this is my favorite part in the whole book, guys. My favorite part in the whole book. It's coming. Okay, I'm sorry. This really is my favorite part, I think. I think objectively. There's one other thing I like, but this definitely is the toppity tip top. Only faint embers glow amongst the burnt out coal. I must have fallen asleep. I didn't mean to, I really didn't. I just thought I'd rest my eyes, just for a moment. Oh God, he's gonna punish me for this. Falling asleep in his bed? It's just too intimate. So what? Could this really get more intimate with him anyways? That's not the point. He won't like it. He'll see it as... Oh, I don't know. He'll see it as an invasion of some kind. He won't want to be reminded that he might have some sort of emotional connection with me, along with everything else. But wait a moment. There's a warm weight around my waist. Heavy and warm. So warm. I listen. Hard. Can't be what I think it is. Just can't be. But I hear soft breathing. I hear soft, rhythmic breathing. Breathing that isn't my own. I turn my head around. He's lying on his side. His eyes close as he breathes steadily. He's sleeping. He's fallen asleep next to me, with his arm around my waist. A sigh drifts from my lips as I stare at him. He looks so composed while he's sleeping. His face is without expression. How easily would it be for me to kill him? He's put himself completely at my mercy. I could just take the pillow and put it over his face and rip your soul in two at the same time. I couldn't kill him, even if I really wanted to. I couldn't.